6, 2016 regular council meeting to order. Flag salute. Councilor Nuttall, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Silent roll call has been taken and a quorum is present.
Okay, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June 23rd, 2016, July 18th, 2016, and July 28th, 2016 special council meetings?
So moved.
Second.
So John, Jan. Discussion? All those in favor? None opposed? Petitions, communication, citizens' request. At this time, is there anyone in the audience that would like to discuss an item that is not on the agenda? Okay, moving on to reports. Council President. I have none. Standing committees. City councilors.
Be
my guest.
I was just going to mention a little bit about Riverfest. The packages should be out. If you haven't gotten it yet, you should be getting it soon. Riverfest is going to be just as good as it always is, maybe even better. We have a kids' talent show on Friday night, which is new. It's no prizes, just kids getting up and showing whatever talent they may have. For the older kids, we have laser tag and a big obstacle course, and then we have all the kiddie games, lots and lots of food, good food. So it will be as good as always. With Riverfest this year, we have a school days book that we did, and if you have your packet, you have the book. And those that don't have their package yet, they will get it. But they'll be for sale at Riverfest. It's a good book of showing all old classes, and it's a fun book. So it will be a good time. How much is it? $5.
Very nice. Any questions for Carol? You all set with volunteers at this point?
We seem to be pretty good. We have a good committee this year.
Good. Stan?
Yeah, I'd like to send some sort of a declaration or something to the State Department of Transportation about the traffic lights on Stillwater Avenue and see if they can sync them a little bit better. I don't know how to go about that exactly, but...
I'm assuming Mr. Mayo can call somebody and do that. Yep. And if we need to, we can put our names on paper to make it official, but if you can try first calling them and just tell them to take a look at that, because it is that time of year, it's busy, and they need to get them fixed.
Without a vote, is he okay to say he's representing the City Council of Old Town?
He is.
Cool.
Yes.
Thank you.
Stan, are you talking down by where you come off the interstate?
The whole length,
The
there's
whole
as
length
much
of it?
traffic leaving Old Town now
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
as there
is.
is coming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mess out at the interstate now, and it's a mess, like I said, it was backed up to the Methodist Church.
And then they have those
Last
three
week-
lights there, bing, bing, bing.
On an off hour, I mean, I couldn't begin to understand. I mean, 5 o'clock you might understand, or 7 o'clock,
Right.
7 to 8:30 in the morning.
Run
But this
all
was
the
like
time.
middle of the daytime that it was backed up. To
They're
Stillwater.
not, and like you say, they're close together, so they're not in
Yeah.
sync at all.
No, they're not.
Bax is doing a traffic study to go with a bridge replacement, but no, I'll get a hold of them, see if they can come up and take a look at it.
So what are they doing, making the lights mess up so they can count the cars, make them go slower?
I hadn't thought of that, maybe.
That's what I'm wondering.
I know
Yeah, they
Mr.
do.
Mr. Wilcox had an officer out there sitting on, I don't know the name of the street, but if you take a right at the island, go down the right-hand side of the park, he was sitting there checking cars and stuff, and I mentioned to him they were backed up. Whatever time of day that is, he was aware of it, so. I don't remember which
It
officer
was before 3
but-
because, it was before 3 because you were doing
Yeah, it
stuff for
wasn't during
school.
school, right.
Yeah.
I was going during my free period, so.
Okay, so that, like I said, at 3 o'clock I could see it, 3, 4, 5, but not when he went to do that.
Right.
So something's messed up. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other councilors?
I think I'd like to mention it's too bad that there isn't a late bus coming to Old Town. Last bus coming to Old Town from that was, I understand, is at 5:30. Kids that don't have transportation from the university have no way of getting home. I have a student that lives with me.
Is it 5:30? That's the latest? No.
I don't know, I'd have to look at what the bus schedule is.
I thought they went later than that.
No late bus from the kids.
Can we find that out?
Yep, there's a community connector out of Orono too that runs, but I don't know what their route is for college students.
I don't think it comes to Old Town, does it?
Just runs to
I'm not
Orono,
sure, but
No, I
something-
don't
Just runs to
think so.
Orono?
from campus to Orono,
Yeah.
every half hour till like 8 or 9.
Chief, can you find that out
Yep,
for
I
us?
can.
Thank you. And then we can figure out who we need to call, just ask to request it, see if we
Want me to
can.
might pay
inquire
more.
on
They
what
might pay.
what would have to happen for there to be a later bus as well on that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
sure.
Okay, any other counselors? City Attorney.
There are 2 executive session items tonight, but otherwise no report.
Okay, thank you. Special committees, City Manager.
Penobscot Trust has just recently contacted me, and they apparently have left about a third of an acre down where the dam used to be, between the dam and the current water intake, the new one that got put in at the mill. It's about a third of an acre, and it's kind of U-shaped. They call it the beach. And so I just got contacted by them. That's all, the Penobscot Trust is breaking up now that the dams are all done and all that. So the Nature Conservancy's just trying to tie up loose ends. And so they just contacted me today. They're gonna send me some maps to show where that piece is, and if the city's interested in it, they'd just give it to us.
I was just trying to look on that map right there. It's probably not on there.
Well,
Is that the mill right there? There's the last part, the mill?
it would be, there's a piece right in this area right here.
Okay.
I'll get a better map.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're blowing up, but there's about a third of an acre, and in talking to them, the only restrictions that they have on the lot is that can only be used for recreational purposes. Someone wants to canoe or kayak and land there, if walking past went through that area, but it can't be developed for anything. But I'll bring that forward to the next committee meeting, just so you can see what it is and get more information on it, but.
Okay.
Would that butt the mill property that we're looking at purchasing?
Yep.
Would it butt it
Yep.
all the way around?
Yep.
Good.
We have a Juniper Ridge landfill pre-hearing conference next Wednesday in Augusta. That's basically just to go through procedure on testimony and cross-examination. The actual hearing is October 18th and 19th, and that's going to be right in Bangor at the Cross Center. It's not going to be in Augusta this year. So they'll have it a lot closer, so if folks want to go to that, it'll be a lot more convenient for people versus having to travel to Augusta like they did in the past. And we have been having issues since last week with the public access channel, so if anybody here hears about that,
Are we on tonight?
we tape everything. If anyone wants to watch it, it's on the city website. We post it.
Okay.
Right now, Time Warner is trying to figure out if it's on their head end equipment or if it's in here. We believe it's on their end, and they've got technicians that are trying to figure out exactly what they've cut off. So we're working on it, but
Yeah.
but if
Yeah.
anybody wants to see, like tonight's meeting or whatever, that stuff's all on the city website anyway, so it gets posted there.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll get that resolved
Yeah.
next couple days, but it's been over a
Okay.
week.
Yeah, it's been about, okay.
Okay, any questions for Bill? And next 3 days, you're at training?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Consent agenda, there is none. Public hearings and second reading of ordinances. City Council will conduct a public hearing on a new application for a lunch wagon permit for William Osborne, DBA Working for Peanuts LLC. Open the public hearing. So Patty, what are we, in the, you want to, who is it, EJ?
Yeah.
So in the EJ's motion, you want to say what? Contingent upon
Contingent upon inspector approval.
inspector's approval. Okay. And basically, we've come to the conclusion that he's going to be selling peanuts and popcorn.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions on this from anybody in the audience or council? Close the public hearing. City Council consider approval of a new application for a lunch wagon permit. Councilor Roach.
Resolve the Old Town City Council hereby approves an application for a lunch wagon permit for William Osborne doing business as Working for Peanuts LLC, contingent upon inspector approval.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Linda, discussion? All those in favor? None opposed. Okay, moving on to old business. There is none. New business. The City Council consider approval of a renewal application for a liquor license and special amusement permit for Off the Wagon 18 Water Street. Councilor Klitsch.
Resolved, the Old Town City Council hereby approves a malt, vituous, spirituous liquor license and special amusement permit for James G. Doobie doing business as Off the Wagon at 18 Water Street.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Carol, discussion?
Where is that 18 Water Street?
It's right behind here, right beside the American
Legion?
Hall.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And they're good to go.
Yes. And I've heard nothing but positive feedback from your patrons there. So nice job, guys. Very nice job. Okay, no other discussion. All those in favor? None opposed. 0. Okay, number 2, the City Council will consider approving a resolution to adopt the 2016 updated Penobscot County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Councilor Peterson.
Resolved, the Old Town City Council hereby approves resolution 2016-3, adopting the 2016 update of the Penobscot County Hazardous Mitigation Plan.
Is there a second?
Second.
Linda, discussion? We good?
It's hard to read. The copy I had, but
Yeah.
Anything you want to comment, Chief, on that?
I'll just comment real quickly, because I'm sure most of you are familiar, but every 5 years they update this plan. It's for naturally for the hazards in our area. Nothing's changed for our infrastructure, and as far as the dams and as far as where the public safety building, the schools and the generators and things like that are located. So that's pretty much what it is. What would happen in case of another ice storm, God forbid, or something like that.
Okay.
So, but every 5 years they do it, and they have to approve it in draft form. It's a FEMA rule. They It's kind of crazy. You get the draft, you get the lines all through it and everything else like that. And then once the council you get 4 members of the select board or the council to sign off on the proclamation, and FEMA approves it, and then we'll get a perfect copy back. It's
Oh,
all,
gotcha.
so that it's one we can go by, like our 2010 copy.
Right.
So it's like this. And I figure nothing's changed on Old
Nothing's
Town
changing
Fire.
anyways.
They use the 2010 census versus the 2000 now, okay? Because in 2010, the 2010 census wasn't out at that time, so updated figures, but minor stuff.
Okay.
Just the copy itself. See how that's just sort of faded in?
What-
Usually the draft is in behind it, and that's why it just seemed a little bit more difficult
Yep.
to read.
Yeah.
Possible.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Okay, no other discussion. All those in favor? None opposed? Item number 3, City Council consider extending the due date by 2 weeks for the 2016 real estate and personal property taxes. Councilor McLeod.
Resolve the Old Town City Council hereby extends the due date for the 2016 real estate and personal property taxes from September 14, 2016 to October 13, 2016, and shall commence bearing interest on October 14, 2016.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Jan, discussion? Okay, all those in favor? None opposed. Okay, moving on to item number 4. City Council consider approving the purchase of wayfinding signs in the amount not to exceed $30,000. The funds for this can be expended from the Stillwater TIF account number 03050 or the Economic Development Reserve account number 03550. Councilor Roach.
Resolve the Old Town City Council hereby approves the purchase of wayfinding signs in an amount not to exceed $30,000. Funds are to come from account number 03050 or 03550.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. So let's So I missed the last meeting on this. Wasn't that the last committee meeting you guys talked about this? I think one of the biggest things was when I talked to Bill, one of our meetings, that where the funding was going to come from, because this was not in the budget. So now you guys have met, it sounds like, and it can come from either the Stillwater TIF, if it's within that realm, from what I understand, or it's going to come from the Economic Development Reserve account. Correct?
Right.
So I don't want you to go through the whole presentation like you did where I missed the meeting, but it's pretty much all the signs. I thought the amount was like $50,000. Now it's down to 30.
Well, it would be a lot higher, but Public Works has agreed to do the installation, so that cut down the cost significantly.
Okay.
So all we're looking at is the manufacturing and everything that goes along with the signs and what's required, the posts and so forth. That cut a good $15,000 to $17,000 off the cost.
My comment was to, and I actually think Mr. Peterson was at the meeting because we were having our weekly update on the mill, and my only feeling was not knowing exactly how things are going to work out. We haven't signed anything, done all this stuff yet with the mill, so I myself am starting to get a little nervous about the budget going forwards. And if things do not work out, we are definitely going to have to tighten our belt and look at the way we do services around here. So I was nervous about where the money was coming from, but at that time, I don't think we talked about the Stillwater TIF money. I don't think we talked about that or out of the reserve, so I'm starting to think a little differently at that point. Is it Stillwater TIF? We're going to use the same amount, and I know I confuse you at times on this. We're going to use the same amount on the Stillwater TIF for the next budget that we used for this last budget?
No. You'll get, and it's kind of hard to predict. Worst case scenario is that TIF will generate as of starting next July 1, the next budget to be $155,000. Worst case scenario in that fund to spend in next year's budget.
Okay.
Depending on, R.H. Foster would be part of that TIF if they develop anything out there. So I don't know, if that doesn't happen, you're gonna end up with 155. If they did do something, those dollars roll into that TIF account for that.
Because myself, I'd be more in favor of using it from the TIF account than I would the reserve account. Knowing that we still have enough money to do everything in the TIF that we did this last year, that we could use those monies again.
Economic Development Reserve is an account that's, it was utilized a few years ago, and it was spent on some infrastructure.
How much is in that account? I didn't.
Yeah, that was
How much is in that account, Bill?
$114,881 in that account. And it's basically sat there for several years without being utilized. So that's another
option.
What can we use that account for?
Anything that you folks want to use it for.
Also the LLC.
You guys. The LLC doesn't have any money unless you appropriate it.
Right.
That's all your money.
Right. No, okay, now, see, knowing that there's that much in there too, that's, okay. Because at the last meeting, maybe these funds hadn't been found out yet, so I think they're trying to take it from the actual budget, which I don't think is a good idea.
There's a couple different, the Old Town Development LLC has almost just under $200,000 in it. But this Economic Development Reserve account it hasn't been anything, nothing's been taken out of that for like 4 years, 5 years.
Okay. Dan?
Here's my personal take on this. We've been doing this for months. It should have been the budget that we're gonna spend this money on this. We spent $444,000 when we voted in the budget out of reserve accounts. Since then, we've taken about 12 to do the road out in Stillwater. Is that correct? Because we had
Nine something,
96
yeah,
left
96.
on the money that we borrowed, so we've taken another 12. So that puts us over 450,000. Now you're gonna take another 30,000 out of that, out of reserves, and it doesn't matter. We can spend the Economic Development Reserve money on anything. But if you spend it, you ain't gonna have it no matter what you put it under, the same as the TIF funds.
Right.
This, I don't think, is an emergency item, and if you have an emergency item come on later, you're still gonna take that money out of reserve to do the emergency item, whatever it is. At some point in time, we gotta tighten our belts. This might be the point in time where you tighten your belts. Or it's the point in time where I'm gonna tighten mine, because when we voted in 444,000 out of reserves to pass the budget, I felt that was my maximum amount to take out of there. So I'm gonna vote no on this particular item and say put it in the budget next year, and I hope it flies.
So my question again to you, Bill, on the Stillwater, I agree with you on the reserve fund.
Well, it's still a reserve fund, and you're still spending the money.
Right.
You could spend it on something else if
Right.
it comes along, but if you spend it on this, you ain't gonna have it to spend on
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying, I agree with
If
you.
it flies down the mill, we're gonna be hurting
Right.
surface come next year.
Right, so I agree with you on the reserve. Back to the Stillwater TIF. The money that we spent this year, those items that we used the Stillwater TIF for, we're going to use that money again for next budget on those same items.
On some of them. I mean, part of that, you're not. You funded sidewalks out of there, which you spend at that one time. You're not gonna go back and spend $42,000 again on sidewalks out of that TIF. You've already done that improvement. You're not gonna spend $10,000 on stormwater in that area. That's done.
Okay. Do you see us using that TIF for anything else? Let's say this wasn't on the agenda. Do you see us using that for anything else next year? Because I'm in favor of the TIF as long as we do not have a plan for using it for something else already next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to say.
We can't
I would
predict,
hope we
yeah.
have it to spend on something else as it's developed. But
And we could have put a placeholder in there for signage, but honestly, no one had any idea what these signs would cost until we got into the planning part, and we've been working closely with Wright Pierce and the DOT, and they have all their regulations. And until that all got sorted out, we really, it would have just been a wild guess. So, and we felt at the time that we have the TIF reserve and we have the economic development reserve, and it was felt that that's exactly what these funds are designed to deal with.
Linda?
What's the time frame on this? Are we gonna have them in before winter? Or are we
Exactly.
gonna have, I mean, they've gotta be obviously made, and then they have to be installed. So what's the time frame on that?
As soon as the funding's secured, we're ready to put the project out to bid so we can have it in before snow flies or before the ground freezes.
I guess that was going to be my question. If it was going to be too close, why don't we wait,
Yeah,
table
that's-
this till the spring anyways, at least till the springtime, and then bring it up at that point. We're going to know where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, what I'm hearing, the pressure that I hear is, we did the downtown plan, and there have been recommendations, and we want to see something tangible. And this, although I'm not saying 30,000 is not a lot of money, but it was seen as kind of one of the low-hanging fruit that we can demonstrate that, the city is actually implementing some of the recommendations.
you're on the committee, aren't you? on these
Yeah,
committees?
I'm just wondering if it's going to, EJ is too.
Okay, so we can get feedback.
Yeah, if there's any harm in waiting, I mean, the cost wouldn't change any in waiting, would it? And
I doubt if it would significantly, but
I'm,
I mean, as a committee, what are you guys hearing? Does the committee feel we're not doing any of the recommendations? Is that what's going on? I mean,
Well, I think people are looking to see some movement and progress towards implementing the plan from the downtown revitalization and all the meetings we had. It's an initial step that hopefully will drive traffic towards downtown. The goal is to obviously increase people who don't live here understanding where to go and where things are, drawing attention to that downtown district. So it's been a topic of conversation for a number of meetings, the sign committee and downtown. So it's an initial step, and the people I talk to seem to want to support it.
I will have to say that the step that I hear people waiting for is something downtown.
to do something downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I hear. I'm just saying what I hear.
The other part of that is we're saying that Public Works has $17,000 worth of labor sitting around doing nothing for this time period, when they're gonna have to give something else up I'm curious what they're gonna give up that they don't need, that they can put $17,000 worth of labor into installing these signs. I don't get that part either.
I think it's just that they're gonna put a man, two men, one man or two men out there with a truck just
I
putting these
agree
signs
with you,
in.
but what would
what-
those two men be
right.
doing? Would they be doing
Exactly.
nothing?
But I think it is,
Absolutely not.
I think it is a lot more economical to have city staff do that.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you hire a
Okay.
firm, as you know, you got the insurances, the mobilization.
Right.
And, you're probably doubling your costs.
Right.
And the other thing is, when you're looking at signage, and I think it's important, I think we should do something. But it seems as though now that winter is coming upon us, if we had this project in the spring, or after we had a budget, have it done for the summertime, it seems as though that would be the time I don't see a reason why we have to do it right now. Because I think it's one of those things that we want it to happen, but maybe after the budget season in the summer, and we go forward with it at that time.
Right.
That way it would be there to see, because when winter comes, snow's gonna cover up stuff and whatnot, so. we'll keep
But these will be up high and they're reflective.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but,
And I am hearing everybody, and I agree. I agree with both sides. I just think that I said this back months ago that I was not nervous about what was going to happen down the street. But come September, if we haven't finalized anything, we need to start reevaluating what we're doing and tightening our belt and just making sure that we are in a good place going forward if something doesn't happen. And this is, I'll give Stan credit, this is one of the first things to come in front of us that I think we got to start looking at. And we're in September. It's almost winter time. I mean, I think this is something I feel we could table till the spring, and then we're going to know we will know in the next 30 to 60 days where we're at down there. And I think the council at that point, it's winter time anyways. It comes springtime, we can decide what to do. But
And just not to argue with the council, but just so I can say I gave it my best shot.
you did a great job.
When we did the TIF program,
Right.
As you recall, the way that works, we're saving over 80% of that tax-generated money that otherwise would have gone to the state, and the whole idea of a TIF program is to set up a nest egg that you can use for economic development-related purposes.
Right.
So I think that this really is an ideal use for that fund, and it's, as I say, money that otherwise the city would not have had.
All right. No, I appreciate that. That's why I've asked Bill there a couple of times about what we think we're going to use that for next year, because I'm assuming there's going to be other things. I mean, I know we didn't get the sidewalks downtown here. Those are terrible. I mean, the sidewalks need to be done downtown. I think that's something that should be part of the Stillwater TIF, if we could ever use the money for that, which I don't know if we can, but there's things like that. I think the signs, it's a great idea. Myself, I'm not 100% confident right now of everything that's happening. I think we'll end up in a good place, but we're not there yet. So.
Can I just say?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think the signs are great. I know the committee did a lot of work because I was there, and I know the signs are great. I think this isn't the time to do it with, the tax bills just came out. They weren't too bad, but still, I hate to spend any money right now on something that, well, I hear people all this time saying what is down there first, and I don't think that I think the signs are great, but I would like them to point to something, I guess. And I know that which comes first.
I know. We are seeing some
Yeah.
some encouraging
Yeah.
signs though downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am
And
hearing
I
that.
know, but,
Some
and,
interest.
and maybe spring, maybe we will have some, that's,
Yes. Yeah.
I'd have a different feeling if it was going to be ready for Riverfest, but since it's not,
No,
it's
it won't even
impossible.
close,
I don't think it's a good idea right now.
Can we make a motion to table this indefinitely, or do you have to have an actual?
If you table it indefinitely, it's done. So it wouldn't be any different than if you voted up.
Vote
no.
it down, yeah.
If you want to table it till spring, then
That's why I was wanting to table it till. Eric?
I'll be back.
I'm sure you will.
If you lay it on the table, you would need a motion to pull it off the table. So you would move at a meeting, say in March, to pull it off the table, put it on the
Yeah,
agenda.
okay.
If you postpone to a date certain, then it's already set up for that date. If you postpone indefinitely, that kills it. So those are the three options.
So what was the first one again?
Just lay it on the table.
We're just gonna table it, okay,
No specific time.
okay. Because I'm seeing, I think everybody,
So I'd like to make a motion to table it.
Yeah, I'll
okay,
second that.
second that. Okay, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? 6-1. Okay, thank you, Ron. EJ.
Wanted to vote.
I'll be back. We'll see you in the
Hopefully
spring.
we'll know where we are when you come back.
Okay, moving on to the last two items of the evening. The city council will consider going into executive session for the purpose of discussing possible litigation with the city attorney. Councilor May.
Resolve, the Old Town City Council hereby approves going into executive session pursuant to Title I MRSA, Section 4056E, for the purpose of discussing possible litigation with the city attorney.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
And discussion? All those in favor? None opposed? 6:31 PM.